Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Rush, and we are having a conversation with regards to stroke this morning, and we have Dr. SHERIF Okyeere from Amen Scientific
Herbal.
Oh, thank God I remember. Doc, how are you?
I'm doing well.
How are you doing?
Welcome back.
Okay, so today we are talking about stroke.
Yes.
Stroke.
Yes.
But it has a very big, wide name.
Yes, that is a cardiovascular accident.
Okay.
Yes.
Cardiovascular accident.
Yes. Or CV, no, accident.
Oh, that's CV.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
because the condition itself, when it happens, and we think there's some sort of accident that is happening within the brain. That's why the name, because it has a relation to the cardio, that is the heart and the vessels. So the cardio and the vascular accident. So that's how come the name is CV like that, or cardiovascular accident. Yes.
Okay, so Doc, let me start with how can one identify that I have stroke?
Well, thanks so much for the question, and I think stroke is one of conditions that is commonly, right now when you look at our setting, because usually at first you see the old age, when we talk about some of these conditions, stroke, and you see old age, but recently it's not like that.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, before I left the office, there was this fresh case, 37-year-old man suffering from stroke, and when you see some of these, it becomes a worrying situation. You understand, and stroke actually happens when the blood supply to the brain is interrupted. So interruption of blood supply to the brain cells is interrupted. Now, the brain cells is made in such a way that there are a type of cells that is not able to store energy. You understand? So every minute, every second, there should be blood supply to the brain cells before it will be able to thrive, or it will be able to work. And we all know everything that we do virtually within our system is being controlled by the brain. You understand? The speech, the sight, everything. You understand? So now, if there's interruption of blood supply to the brain, then the rippling effect is what we see in our body. And the brain is made in such a way that the left hemisphere of the brain controls the right side of the body, and then the right hemisphere of the brain controls the left side of the body.
So they work hand in hand.
Hand in hand. Okay. So now you see people suffering from stroke, and maybe one part, the left side, is not working. There's paralysis at the left side, the arm is not working, the legs are not working. Some people will present with stroke and they can't talk because the speech center within the brain is affected. Some people might suffer stroke and their sight are disturbed. They can't see because probably maybe the accident is happening at the backside, at the occiput, where the sight center is within the brain. So that is how come stroke happens. Now, if you look at the image that we're having on the screen right now, there are two types of strokes. Okay. You understand? We have the hemorrhagic stroke and the ischemic stroke. What we are seeing is a typical example of ischemic stroke. Okay. Now, ischemic stroke happens when there's a blockade. So whether it's an embolus or thrombus or anything, maybe it's a plug from the arteries that has moved up into the brain. Because now, what we have to understand is the brain cells are very small. Okay. You understand? So if there's any plug whatsoever within the system, because a lot of time we advise the people, we need to exercise, we don't have to eat late, we need to cut down fat intake and all those things. These plaques are as a result of some of these things that we do. Now if they move up the brain and clogs within some of these small blood vessels within it, it might interrupt the blood supply. Just like we are in the house and we are pouring the oils into the sink and all those, it will get to a time your sink might not be flowing. When you pour in water, it won't go. That is exactly what happens with ischemic stroke. Now when there's a blockade, blood cannot move. So at that point where there's interruption, that's where the deficit or the damage will be caused, and it will cause ischemic stroke. Same way with with hemorrhagic stroke. In this case, maybe rise in blood pressure or the intracranial pressure goes high. And because these blood vessels, as I mentioned earlier, are very small and very, weak, they are not that strong. You understand? Some of these blood vessels can just burst, and there will be leakage of blood into the intracranial, the brain. You understand? And it can lead to, hemorrhagic stroke.
Wow, so a lot of things happen. So I was just thinking, when you mentioned the accident can happen when you drive being drunk, when your tire bursts, all of these things. So that's just how it happens with the body. Now, as Nana asks, how one can get to know that I have this.
Yes.
After you go to the hospital and you're diagnosed with that, what should be the way forward for that patient? Can it be cured?
Yes, it can be cured, or it can be managed if you get the right treatment. Because if you look at Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital, for example, we've won so many awards, especially when it comes to treatment for stroke. There are cases people can even recover up to 90%. Because mind you, when someone suffers stroke, we are looking at the deficit that has been caused within the brain and the neurological effect that comes with it. And if you are giving treatments to some of these conditions, it is very, very difficult. So a lot of times, when someone suffers stroke, that is it. The deficit that has been caused, the arm that is not being raised, the legs, the paralysis that has been caused will be there forever. Some people, when they suffer stroke, they stay with the deficit till they die. You understand? Until recently, that Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital thought it wise that there are so many things that can be done for these people. So you just don't give medication. You need to go extra mile to do physio, to do other therapies that will actually help revive some of these neurological defects that has been caused. So now, people who present with stroke paralysis, they can't walk, they can't do anything. Some people, they can't even sit. And it will get to a time they can, they will be able to walk by themselves. They will be able to do basic chores, because we've been able to revive some of these deficits that happened as a result of, this accident that happens because of stroke.
Is it inherited?
At some point, yes, you can say it runs in the family. Because when you look at some of the causes, you understand some of the causes of stroke. There are comorbidities like hypertension, diabetes, heart-related conditions, and all those things. Apart from that, there are a lot of lifestyle, sedentary lifestyle, and things that we do that could lead to some of these conditions. For example, we always advise the people, even if you drink, try and do it in moderation. There are people who are binge drinkers. They go and sit and they have to finish about 10 bottles or even a crate before they get up. These things will cause problem to you. It can lead to some of these situations. We advise the people that we need to be very keen on our dieting. We don't have to eat too late into the night. And as a typical Ghanaian, you understand. You see, for example, we'll take tea in the morning. In the afternoon, we might not really eat so well, maybe coffee brokuman or something of that sort. We'll wait till we get home like 8. That's where we eat our banku, our kenke, our fufu, and all those things. And naturally, when you eat those meals, if you don't take care, you might not be able to even wash your hands before you sleep.
Oh, the way you are pointing your fingers at me.
You get it. So all these things, stress. There's too much stress in the system. You understand? Your children's school fees, your rent, you go to market, things are not working out. If you are stressed too much, it puts a lot of pressure on the brain, which can lead to some of these things. Things like salt intake and all those things. All these things are contributing factors. It could predispose you in getting some of these conditions. So it is very, very important. Very, very important. When you talk about some of these conditions and the lifestyle that we live.
Okay, so the numbers are on your screen right now. You see that. Do well to call in, not into the show, but they are Amen Scientific numbers. We're talking about stroke, and those of you eat late in the night, those of you be very, very careful, excluding me. Anyway, let's talk about Amen Scientific and what you have in store for people with such conditions.
Yes, yes. Before I come to that, this is a general advice to a lot of people.
Okay.
You know, for over a decade now that I've worked with Amen Scientific about an alternative medical hospital, a lot of time when people are rushing with stroke, the first question you ask them, do you have any underlying condition? They'll go by, oh yes, I have hypertension, I have diabetes, I have this and all those. You ask them, are you compliant on your medication? Are you taking your drugs? A lot of time they'll tell you, oh, I'm not taking it. Especially men. They'll be like, oh, doctor, you say, oh no more, your something will not work, so I'm not taking it. These things are causing a lot more damage to a lot more people. So please, if you've been diagnosed of any underlying condition that you need to take your medication every day, make sure you are compliant. Because if you are not compliant, it could lead to some of these things. We should try and exercise more. We should try and not be conscious of our dieting and all those things, because it will go a long way to prevent us from getting some of these conditions. But if you are there and you're having these stiffness, numbness, heaviness all the time, you're having, you know, severe headache, unexplained headaches and all those things, the heart is beating faster, you go to bed and you can't sleep in, and all these things, it might be a signal for you that probably things are not going on well within the system, which could lead to some of these things. So you have to quickly rush to Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital. But if you have the stroke already, you've been diagnosed of having stroke, I entreat you, we are the best center when it comes to stroke treatment and its management. So just rush to Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospitals. We are all over the country, from Tamale, Bolga, Wa, Takrady, Hohoi, Koko, Accra here at Domesnet Flats, close to the rail line, and Lashibi Klagon, close to the Ashama Underbridge. The numbers are on the screen. You can call us, and we'll attend to you, you know, on the following numbers on the screen.
So just do well to call. It's Charlie. Yeah. So please take care of yourselves and do well to call the numbers on the screen. Thank you very much, Senior, for coming in this morning. The way you were pointing fingers at me, eating late.
I'm saying he eats late at night.
It's okay. Let's leave it there. Thank you very much for coming.